love loud concerts, the occasional team project, and hanging out with my friends in my free time. But I am an introvert. For the majority of my life so far, while I love all the things I mentioned in the beginning, I also love being alone. I like sitting by myself with a good novel and a cup of tea, and sometimes when I'm at a party for a few hours, I get tired and need to be by myself. In today's society, we often associate introverts as being shy, quiet, or even antisocial, while in most cases, this is certainly not true. And in some, it can be the complete opposite. So, what even are introverts and extroverts? The main difference between introverts and extroverts is how we re-energize, or recharge. Extroverts re-energize when they're with large groups of people, while introverts re-energize when they're alone. Why is this important? Why do we need to differentiate the characteristics between introverts and extroverts anyway? The fact is that because the majority of the world are extroverts, introverts are regarded as different and are misunderstood. Like I said before, introverts can be viewed as antisocial or have anxiety in social settings. But this is a misconception, as many introverts are actually very social. They're just overly stimulated. This is another major difference between introverts and extroverts. According to psychologist Hans Ensniak, introverts need less outside stimulation to feel energized than extroverts do. This may mean that introverts may not prefer loud noises or parties, and may prefer to hang out with a few close friends instead. Some people believe that introversion is a choice, and it can be fixed. While you can always fake extroversion, introverts can't be fixed, mainly because there's nothing to be fixed. There is nothing wrong with introverts. We just react to different situations in different ways. In fact, there have been studies that prove that our brains work differently as well. In 2012, neuroscientist and psychologist Randy Buckner proved that introverts have more gray matter in their prefrontal cortex than extroverts do. The prefrontal cortex is the part of the brain that's associated with abstract thought and decision-making. This may mean that introverts can have different social tendencies than extroverts do. According to Psychology Today, 1/3 of the world's population are introverts. So if you're not one, you're probably sitting near one right now. You might even be friends with one and not realize it. Some famous introverts include J.K. Rowling, Steven Spielberg, Dr. Seuss, Abraham Lincoln, Audrey Hepburn, and my personal favorites, Eleanor Roosevelt and Emma Watson. Some of the traits of introverts include that in a psychological sense, they can be highly sensitive. This may mean that they can be overly happy when witnessing an act of kindness, or extremely saddened when witnessing an act of violence. Many introverts also tend not to speak unless they feel the absolute need to. This can mean that they don't like small talk, but can speak on and on for hours about something that they are truly interested in, and can be very talented at public speaking. Last week, I was taking a personality test on the internet, one of the thousands probably available there, and discovered that there is not only one type of introvert, there are 4. Social, anxious, thinking, and restrained. Social introverts are the people who prefer small groups or no groups rather than large ones, but they don't necessarily have anxiety in social settings. Anxious introverts, on the other hand, can feel awkward or self-conscious when they're around other people. Thinking introverts can be thoughtful or introspective. They often daydream or think of what-if situations. Restrained introverts think before they speak or act, and they may move at a slower pace than most extroverts. They're the people who don't necessarily get up the second they wake up in the morning, and can perform tasks at a slower pace. One important thing to realize, though, is while most people can be characterized as either an introvert or an extrovert, we all have traits of both. We're all on the spectrum of introversion and extroversion. So while one may love parties and hanging out with their friends, they may not prefer small talk. Or maybe like me, one may love watching Netflix alone, but would love to go to a music festival more than anything else in the world. So, after learning about the different characteristics of introverts, what can we do? Perhaps just having a greater understanding about the people around us is a step in the right direction. But we also need to understand that not every introvert is the stereotypical shy person reading in the corner. And to all the extroverts out there, sure, ask your introverted friend if they want to go to the dance next weekend. But if they say that they'd rather stay in, don't pressure them, but also don't take it personally. Maybe ask them again next week and they might agree. Because everyone wants friends and no one wants to be lonely. But we have to understand that not everyone likes parties or talking all the time. Overall, we need to respect the needs and qualities that everyone has because that's what makes each of us different. And no matter if you are an introvert or an extrovert, everyone deserves to be understood and appreciated. Thank you.